Yo, what up, my dudes? Thanks for checking out the channel today. So, I wanted to go over another bit of practicing effectively, because how to practice does come down to 4 specific key elements, and I don't think I did a good justification of it in my last video, so I want to go over this in a little bit more depth. So, the key elements of effectively practicing are right here. It's focusing on the task at hand, meaning no distractions. You start off slowly, that way you build a proper habit versus a dysfunction, because once you have a dysfunction it becomes kind of a problem to get rid of it. Now you're working on corrective. And then frequent and consistent repetitions with breaks specifically put in there. And then imagery, which in the athletic realm and what I do for a living with training and coaching, I track that back to something termed visualization. And I'm going to give you examples of all of these things in the upcoming video. So let me know what you guys think, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. So the first thing we're going to focus is on the focusing. Oh man, that sounded terrible. Let's focus on the task at hand. There we go. Can't get the right words out today. So how do I focus on the task at hand? I found this comes back down to goal setting with specificity. So you need to be very, very specific on what you want to focus on. For example, if you want to improve your aim, okay, that's a very general definition of a goal. But if you want to improve your headshot accuracy with 600 round per minute auto rifles, that is a lot more specific and something that you can really hone in on and focus in on. The other part of focusing in is going to be to cut out all the distractions for when you specifically design your practice session. So that is how to focus on the specific task at hand. The next thing we're looking at, starting off slowly. This is the same recommendation in the gym environment as a coach as it is with personal training and gaming. So what do I mean by starting out slowly? In the gym, it takes about 600 to 800 repetitions of any given exercise, push-up, pull-up, deadlift, whatever, to create something of a habit or for your muscular memorization to kick in so that it remembers the type of thing you're demanding of it. But it takes around 3,000 to 4,000 reps to correct a bad habit. So when you're learning a new skill, when you're learning how to aim effectively, go slow with very specific purpose. That way you don't create a bad habit. Frequency with consistent and reps and breaks. Now, you see this in the gym as 2 sets of 15, 3 sets of 15, that kind of thing. What I see it in gaming, if we're talking about, let's say, how to get better with the ARs, we need to make a training plan. And then we stick to that training plan because this is our goal. Now what you're seeing on the screen right now is an example of what I would use for a training plan. I would frequently do this, probably 20 to 30 minutes per day, and I would make sure to do it at the same time every day, and then make sure to reassess myself in 2 to 3 weeks. That is consistency. Now, piggybacking on the last slide, here is an example of a training plan. You've got your main focus, which is I want to be better at aiming. When you break that down, we're looking at centering, we're looking at better control over our thumbsticks, we're looking at retargeting. We're going to frequently do this for 20 minutes with uninterrupted focus. And here's what we're going to measure: speed and centering accuracy. We're going to check on this every 14 to 21 days to see how we're coming along. Imagery. So imagery, honestly, we use this all the time, mental imagery, but we call it visualization. Now, in the athletic realm, visualization is a way for you to mentally prepare yourself beforehand, and the neurons in your brain, in the memorization and the components, is kind of like you're building a blueprint for what you're going to be doing during the game. And it works. It works with athletes. It's been proven. Here's a couple of examples. I just wanted to throw these in there. Before you start a game, think about the map's design, think about your player's positioning, and think about which objectives that you want to go after. Those are things that you can visualize before a game starts to help you mentally prepare for what's going to happen during the game. So I know a lot of you guys are using the Cronus Zen right now, as per my recommendation, but for the practice sessions, I actually recommend that you do not use it. What we're looking for is to find the center for this specific auto rifle, the summoner. And all I'm doing is trying to aim in a spot. I'm not doing anything to control the direction. I'm just getting a feel for the recoil patterns. That's all I'm doing right now, just to see what happens as I fire off in a couple of different bursts and what the likelihood of me hitting the center would be when I have no control over it whatsoever. Now, I'm practicing right here with the right thumbstick, which is how you control the direction of where you fire. You know, looking left to right as opposed to strafing left to right. This also has you controlling up and down motions, which we're going to get into practicing that in just a little bit. So my goal for this one is to hit the exact center of this between the left thumbstick right here and previously the right thumbstick. So my goal is to hit the exact center. Focus in on the little red dot that you're looking at right there. And if you notice, when you start running out of ammo, all the surrounding the reticle and it turns red. That's what I was looking for. Now, moving on. Aiming small. The little, I don't even want to say what that looks like. Well, the little spot right there. This is now going into a more in-depth version of aiming. Now I'm going to look for the small dot right there. I'm going to aim back and recenter. I'm going to fire as soon as my unaimed gun is close enough to the middle of that small target. And then I'm going to readjust between the two. This is just the basic practice for target reacquisition. It's accuracy over speed, and then practice for speed once you feel comfortable. But if any moment you have speed but not accuracy, tone down the speed. We need to get accurate before we get speed. That's the goal on this one. Centering is not all that hard, especially in a game like Destiny, but it's still a good thing to practice because every gun does have a different handling stat, and it may feel heavier to do it with something like a sniper rifle versus something like an auto rifle or an SMG. So the readjustment is still using the right thumbstick, but I'm using it going to the left. This is when you're going to start to notice if you have a weakness between your left side and your right side when you're trying to aim to the left or to the right just by using directional controls. This is what we would start to track. This is what we would start to assess. Now we're using a strafe pattern between all three targets. We're trying to get centered before we aim down sight and fire. The faster and more smooth that you can center yourself, the easier it is to aim down sight and fire. Now, I was looking around to see if I should do target acquisition, but what I want to do instead is practice high line angles. So this is basically the center point that we're still looking at with the pillar. I'm going to use this wonderful laid out line right here on the pillar. I'm going to pick my spot. So you want to aim as small as possible. I was looking for the lines, like that line in his arm, maybe the line in the middle of his chest. You're looking for something that you can zero in on, that you can focus on. That way you get a little bit more accuracy out of what you're doing and less general, I guess, generality if that's a word, but less general. Alright, so that's my middle point right there, and I'm going to come back to that. Shoot one to the left, back to the middle as fast as you can do it with good focus. See, I'm going pretty slow right now, using the right thumbstick, and to the left, up, and then back to the center point. And then eventually I'll be switching randomly between these two targets. If we were having a coaching session, I would call them out to you randomly. Left, middle, left, right, middle, and so on. And that way you get an idea of thinking not just in anticipation of what I'm going to be saying to you, but thinking with accuracy, anticipating the call out, and then finding your spot with very, very clear focus. So this is the right side. I decided to aim for the middle of the chest. And if you'll notice on the video, I do a much better job of aiming directionally to the right than I do as aiming it to the left. That might be a controller issue. It might be a weakness on my part. So I hope you guys got a lot out of this. I hope you understand what I would train you for when it comes down to how to practice aiming with this specific auto rifle. It can be used for other weapons as well. That is the basis for how to practice these things. Just a little bit of a review. This is what we would call the task at hand. Focusing on the task at hand is to make sure that you are as specific as possible with your goal setting and you are shutting out all the extra distractions that would stop that focus from happening, therefore limiting your effectiveness. Start out slowly. That way we don't create dysfunction. That way we create positive habits, and that way we create more consistency in our training program. Frequency with consistency. If you're in the gym, again, it's 2 reps of 15. Right here, I literally broke it down between each side 2 reps of 12, or until about a reload happened between those 42 bullets. Here's another example. This is, again, the example of the training plan. This is what I would be giving you. This is what I would want you to practice, and we would measure and reassess this in 2 to 3 weeks to see if your accuracy has improved, to see if your timing has improved, and to just doubly check and make sure that things are going the direction we need it to. And this is just for the AR. You can do this for anything. You can do this with sniper rifles. You can do this with hand cannons. Anything that you would want to get better at, this is how you would do that. The last and final component for effective practicing is imagery. I've tracked this back in the athletic realm as visualization, because that's what I understand how to work with, so hopefully you guys bear with me on this. This is a good way of helping you get into the mindset of performing what you need to do in the game. And I gave examples in this video previously about mindset and gameplay. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate your time. Remember to like and subscribe.